Buchanan also talks about heterosexuality as a theme. Uh, these men have long-term relationships with women that we don't see on the show, and then long-term relationships with each other as crewmates as long as they stay on the same boat. The show is heavily invested in demonstrating that these men have heterosexual relationships with women. They have wives, they have girlfriends, they have children. Um, those relationships, those children are produced through heterosexual relationships. Um, so that is a consistent theme in this show that speaks to the way in which masculinity is constructed. Um, as I've mentioned before, they are the men that are successful, the men that are able to do the job, are not shown as weak or effeminate, and those who are unable to do the job are. Um, Again, this is very much a part of a heterosexual identity that is a theme of the show. Um, the men are very close to each other, but there's no implication of intimacy. I mean, they sleep in very close quarters, they eat together, they do all the things that they need to do to get these boats through the season, but there's never any implication of any kind of romantic relationship between the men. The show itself has a lot of danger. It's very windy. The seas are very bad. Very lot of waves. The ice-covered decks that I talked about can tip the boats over. Um, their bodies undergo extremely rough treatment. At a certain point, many of these men are unable to continue doing this job because their bodies can't handle it anymore. Their injuries figure prominently in the show. Um, they get injured on the show, they get injured just in the general treatment of their bodies as their bodies start to give out. They function on very little sleep. This is very heavy equipment that they're using in very dangerous situations with the boat shifting around and pots falling on top of them falling off of pots. So it's a very dangerous job. Here you see someone trying to get ice off of a boat with a hammer, which you can imagine how hard that is. Here you have a boat that looks to us like it's about to, tip over to the sailors. They don't feel like this boat is going to tip over, and then folks have died. Now, in this situation, he had a stroke while on the boat, but didn't die because of anything related to the boat itself. So he had very significant health problems, and then eventually did die while the show was filming in a hospital bed. So, and he was not an old man by any stretch of the imagination, but his body had undergone some pretty rough treatment. He was a heavy smoker, and then eventually he just died.